Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is day 19 of Ramadan. We're on Al-Khawf min Shirk. قال الله عز وجل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء. Surah Nisa, verse 116. Allah will never forgive you if you associate partners, but He will forgive you other than that, however He will. So it is the only unforgivable sin. Now, we have so many details here, and I'm going to try to sift through them because of time constraints. This book should be read over and over again with every single word, but here we're going to concentrate on the mujahada ala ikhlas. You have to exert effort to try to be sincere as much as you can. And I went over that in the previous lesson about sincerity. We have to try to stay away from something called riya. Riya means to show off. Inna Allah la yaghfiru man yushriku bi. Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushriku bi. Again, an yushriku bi فعل مضارع مقرون بأن المصدرية فيحول إلى مصدر تقديره إن الله لا يغفر الإشراك به. So this is all grammar, which if you understand it, I do, and it's lovely, but they're trying to be certain that you know that this means whoever does it, the doer of this shirk word, which is a noun, they want to make sure you know, La yaghfir al-ishraku bi. The person who's doing this deed of associating powers than anyone other than Allah, it's a problem. فالشرك لا يغفره الله أبدا لأنه جناية على حق الله الخاص. It is a crime against Allah specifically. أما المعاصي, the disobedient one, كالزنا والسرقة, like someone who's fornicating or he's stealing, فقد يكون الإنسان فيها حظ نفس بما نال من الشهوة. Allah, we know this is Allah. This is the truth. This book, it's so awesome. These types of sins like zina and stealing, it's hazza min nafsi shahwa. It's your desire led you to do this. Amma shirk, but as for shirk, فهو اتداء على حق الله. Now you're attacking Allah's rights. اعتداء على حق الله وليس للإنسان في هذا النفس. Nothing about this has to do with something excusable like, well, you know, we all will do a certain amount of naughty things. وليس شهوة يريد الإنسان أن ينال مراده. ولكن ظلم. This really bad, the real bad shirk, dhulm, putting something in its wrong place, being oppressive. Allah called, Inna shirk la dhulmun azim. And this is in Surah Luqman, verse 13. The act of shirk, of actually thinking that someone has power other than Allah is huge. Which is why, you know, we're probably up on about page 70 now, and actually no, page 87. You know Arabic. 87 is a triangle and a V, you know, like this. So 87. And if you have weak vision like me, 87, yes, we're on page 87 talking about shirk. again and again and again, because most people do commit shirk. They're not even aware of it. And you know, that's why the title is Al-Khawf min al-Shirk. Fear, the concept of fear, min shirk. So not only if you fear another power other than Allah, it's a form of shirk, but this title means beware, be fearful of shirk. Arabic. Now it says here, وهل مراد بالشرك هنا الأكبر, the big shirk, أو مطلق الشرك, or absolute shirk. قال بعض العلماء إنه مطلق يشمل كل شرك ولو أصغر. So some of them say it means all shirk. Never mind putting it into reasons or portions, or it's all bad. And if you call it shirk al-asghar, it's still small or big, detestable. كحلف بغير الله, like when you make an oath to something not Allah. فإن الله لا يغفره. You can't do this. This is forbidden. It won't be forgiven. أما بشبه لكبائر الذنوب. It's like a giant sin. You know this concept of كبائر, الذنب الكبير والذنب الصغير. Do you know we learned that in the Catholic Church? They call it a mortal sin and a venial sin. So a mortal sin was deadly. That's why it's used the word mortal. It will never be forgiven. Venial means smaller, minute. It's not a big deal. So in the Catholic Church's dogma, they separate, as do these scholars here. It's what scholars do. They try to pick apart a concept and really delve into it to make sure that they're understanding it. So he's going to say the same thing that he said up above, only in a different manner. And you'll see, you'll recognize it. أما بالنسبة لكبائر الذنوب كالسرقة, like stealing, and khamr, and drinking alcohol, فإنها تحت المشيئة. It means that your doing this is under the category of mashia, that it was almost destined for you to do, that you're going to end up drinking and fornicating. فَقَدْ يَغْفِرَهَا اللَّهُ, so Allah can forgive it. والشيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية المحقق في هذا المسألة. اختلاف كلام في هذا المسألة. There's so many differences in these opinions, so we're going to go to Ibn Taymiyyah now. قال الشرك لا يغفره الله ولو كان أصغر. Now, this is, a definitive opinion. Even if it's small, Allah's not going to forgive it. وَمَرَّ قال, and at another time he said, الشرك الذي لا يغفره الله. Allah's not going to forgive shirk. And they're saying, هو الشرك الأكبر. وعلى كل حال, that means على كل حال means anyway, whatever. فيجب الحذر من الشرك مطلقا. Beware of avoiding shirk مطلقا. It means all of it, in general. لأن العموم يحتمل أن يكون داخلا فيه الأصغر. So there's a fiqh concept that if you have a general edict, let's say, it includes the big and the small. Why? لأن قوله إن أن يشركوا بي. that you associate partners عن ما بعدها في تأويل المصدر تقديره إشراقا به فهو nakira. He's going into grammar now, saying the concept is it a definite or an indefinite noun min siyak nafi. So we have different ways of expressing negative. It's called a nafi. And he's returning back to another grammatical point. To feed al-umum. It is compliant on everyone, in general. Umum means in general. And then, وَيَغْفِرْ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ. So once again, we're getting to like an escape clause, let's call it, that no matter what the ulama say and how much they want to, I don't want to say dissect the words of Allah, but sometimes they go to such extremes that it's becoming complicated. And that's why some people say, well, these scholars, I'm saying this without fear because I know what I'm talking about. I know what they say. And do you know what some of them say? When you go off the edge or over the edge or off the top on dissecting things in fiqh, now you're like a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, because that's what the rabbis do. And that's what the Talmud is. If you read what these rabbis do, you will be abhorred. You will say, oh, alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. I thought my religion was difficult. These men make this commentary on the Torah. It's called the Talmud. Prophet Muhammad said, Hadith an Banu Israel wala haraj. Talk about them. Don't be shy. That's what Prophet Muhammad said. But right now, ana sa'ima, I'm fasting. I have to watch my tongue when I talk about rabbis and the Talmud. So we'll leave it at that. Now we get to something that I really enjoy. All this theoretical, analytical. No, I like this part. When he comes into this part where we can almost like understand it right away. And here it is. Al-aya thaniya. Wajdubni wa bani an na'budul asnam. This is referring to Ismail and Ishaq. And this is Qabla Marad, not Qabl, Qila, 2 dots. You cannot see these dots. I'm sorry. You cannot differentiate 1 dot from 2 dots. I'm telling you again, Saudi Arabia, give us a new edition. We are Muslims. We have a right. We have a right. And we are, okay, Taliban comes from Talaba. And I am not Taliban in a political sense, but I know what the word demand means. Talaba means demand. To ask with certainty that it's your right. That's why they say the student, Talib al-ilm. The student is a Talib al-ilm. Talib al-ilm if it's a man, and Talib with the term abuta if it's a woman. I'm a Taliba, and I want a new edition with Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, Hamza. Larger letters on yellow paper. Okay, it's the second time I've asked now. But I will never leave this book because I love it. And the great Sheikh, Uthaymeen, he had nothing to do with publishing. He was blind. I wonder what he'd think if he knew the difficulty we're having. Well, perhaps it's because I don't have a sheikh sitting next to me. Because the men get to do that. I'm on my own, but so far so good. This isn't meant to be a complaint. This is a request, a demand. So now let's go to the Nabuwa aspect of these prophets, Ismail and Ishaq. قيل المراد ببني, when he asked أجنبني وبني, help I and my children, and أجنبني means let me stay away from, أن نعبد الأصنام. That was his request to Allah. What is a sanam? So this is the question here. قيل المراد ذريته ما توالد من صلبة. It's talking about he's asking to have his offspring be able to escape worshiping idols. And it says here, وَدَوَعْتُ لِنَاسِ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِهِ. ذُرِّيَّتِ means your progeny that comes after you. وَلَكِنْ كَانَ مِنْ حِكْمَةِ اللَّهِ أَنْ لَا تُجَابْ دعوته في بعضهم, كما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دعا أن لا يجعل بأس أمته بينهم. It's saying here, Prophet Muhammad asked Allah to not let factionalism and fighting come between his ummah. فَلَمْ يَجِبَ اللَّهُ دَعَا. Allah did not answer that. And this is from Muslim. Sahih al-Muslim has been giving you this information, so you know it's a hadith sahih. وأيضا يمنع من الأول أن الآية يصيغ الجمع, meaning ليس إبراهيم من الأنبياء سوى إسحاق وإسماعيل. Only these two. We're talking about these two. معنى أجنبني, keep me away, أي أجعلني في جانب والأصنام في جانب الآخر. They're over here and the idols are here. وهذا أبلغ مما لو قال أمنعني. He's saying when Allah gave his word, Ujnubni, it's much more powerful than just to say, Amna'ni. Amna'ni means would forbid. But Ujnubni is meaning, I am so far away from these asnam. فإبراهيم عليه السلام يخاف الشرك على نفسه وهو خليل الرحمن. That was his title. The friend who can be just with Allah. وإما الحنفاء فما بذلك بنا نحن أذن. So the author is saying to you here, if this is the situation of Ibrahim and his children, how about us? Shouldn't we be afraid of these asnam as well? Yes, we definitely should be. Now we're going to get into the discussion of what is a sanam. What is the meaning of a sanam? Was-sanam jamia sanam. So he's saying, wal asnam, the actual plural of sanam is al asnam jama sanam. وهو ما جعل على صورة إنسان. It's something that's pictorially representing a human. أو غير يعبد من دون إله, or anything else that they're worshiping other than Allah. It could be a statue, it could be a picture. Now we have another word that's used in the context. It's called al-Wathan. Al-Wathan, and plural awthan. فهو ما عبد من دون الله على أي وجه كان. So the first one is prohibiting pictorial representations of humans. The second one is ala ayi wajhin kan, anything worship that you hold up and you stare at is a Sanam or a Wathan. The distinction here is it human? وفي حديث لا تجعلوا قبري وثنا يعبد. Prophet Muhammad said, and this is Sahih al-Albani, don't let my grave become a wathan. فالوثن أعم من الصنم. So here we get to the point of statues, obviously statues. And the icons that the Orthodox, Russian Orthodox and Greek Orthodox, they would walk around and parade with these gigantic pictures. You know, pictures like almost as tall as they were, and they still do. ولا شك أن إبراهيم سأل ربه ثباتا على توحيد. We have no doubt here when Ibrahim was discussing this with Allah that he had perfect tawheed, إثبات على توحيد. لأنه إذا جنب عبادة الأصنام صار باقية على توحيد. If he can stay far away, he will be always on Tawheed, and he won't have to worry about anything. إن إبراهيم خافوا الشرك وهو إمام الحنفاء وهو سيدهم ما عدا رسول الله. So they're telling you that the point of this is that Ibrahim was the leader of the purest, the Hunafa, Imam al-Hunafa. And he was Sayyiduhum ma'ada Rasul. You know when you say Sayyiduhum ma'ada Rasul, Sayyiduhum, the Sayyid is the boss. The boss. They used to call the husbands a Sayyid in Egypt. So ridiculous. Do you know they even made films? When I talk about these things, I get very sad because I lived through that time in Egypt. They had films where the husband would be coming home and going through the door, and the mom and the children would all say, "Oh, Sayyid's here," and they'd all tremble and they'd hide, or they'd stand erect like they were in a military formation, and the wife would bow, and it was so disgusting. And they would make a joke about it and call him Sayyid, meaning the big boss is here. Prophet Muhammad asked, is it okay to call him Sayyiduna? And you know what he said? Sayyid hu Allah. Yes, Prophet Muhammad said that. It's a hadith. But they don't want to say that because Sayyiduna, 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 the Sufis, they love it. I'm going to make big problems by translating this book, but that's what I want to do. I want you to understand your Tawheed. I want you to understand that none of these so-called, quote, Arab, unquote, or quote, Muslim, unquote, the majority of the people there live in adat wa taqalid. They live in blind traditions. Can't blame them, though, because it's like fed on mother's milk. If everyone around you is doing it, you have to do it. Because there's no freedom of assembly and there's no freedom of speech. Oh, I really think I better go to my next lesson, because what if they ever cut off my internet because they don't like what I'm saying? But you see, Allah does. Allah likes it. So I'm not going to have any shirk in this, because I'm told to fear Allah only, right? Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.